Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I'm Jonathan Beard of Blevins, a father of 4. Mm-hmm. And I think that most media marketed towards children is a cancer to society.
Okay, I am Katie, MrsRuvi. I'm a mother of 5, and I think that most media marketed toward children can be redeemed if you're ready to have the right kind of conversations. And that's really what the whole point of this podcast is, right? To let parents know what's in a piece of content that they might want to shield their kids from, what's in there that they can have some good conversations about and shepherd their kids through, and then how they can use the media to just share in their kids' experience. Today, we are talking about one of the biggest YouTubers in the whole world, has made one of the biggest media sensations among middle school children that has ever happened. Effectively, kind of, yeah. We're talking about BeastGames.
BeastGames. I refuse to watch it.
I hear this about you. What was your... Why? Why won't you watch it?
Something about a rich dude getting a bunch of poor people to play a game for money.
Yeah.
Which I suppose you could argue like I did that by being on Family Feud, but different. It feels different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because it feels a little bit more humiliating, right? There's like things that they have to go through that are a little bit... Well, do you know what it's about?
No,
like, do you want to give everybody
I've heard a couple of different things, so you have to explain it.
Okay, so basically the overview is think like Survivor, except sort of blown out of proportion. So there are 1,000 contestants who are competing to win $5 million through a series of Mr. Beast style games. So
wait, who gets paid? Top what? One.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,000 people won. Okay.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't some sort of a thing at the end where it can be split amongst multiple people, because that has been some of the games.
Oh, it's still going on.
Yeah, it's still going on. So by the time this episode comes out, the finale will be coming out on this Thursday, the 13th of February. So nobody has won yet as of recording date. There's still 2 more episodes to come out because we're recording before Thursday.
And how many people are left?
I don't remember.
Okay. Less than 1,000.
Yes, well, far less. I think they were down to the top 10.
Okay.
But anyway, so the contestants are all competing. They have these little mini games in the middle where like they can win an island or they can take small quantities of money from them. But they're all put to these sort of philosophical games, like you can either get yourself a Lamborghini or have 5 of your favorite other characters axed from the game. So like it's sort of a trolley problem, right? Where you can give something for yourself or you can destroy 5 other people's chance at this thing you've all been working for. It's very interesting philosophically.
You're telling me there's actually there's a contestant who can literally just eliminate people if they want to.
Exactly.
Yikes.
Yeah. So like, and not in every single game. There are, various different things. There's like one where they have cases in front of them and the guy can tell you which case to stand in front of, and he knows where the X that'll get you knocked out is going to be, and he tells everybody where to stand, and then you can ask him questions and decide if you're going to stay there, yada yada, you know. But it's very like a question of human nature in addition to just being a game show. It's not like Family Feud where it's, how well do you know people's likelihood of responding to something. It's how willing are you to psychologically manipulate your peers?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad I haven't watched it. Thoughts?
Well, so like it is very Survivor adjacent, right? Like all of the weird not eating bugs, that doesn't really come up so much, but like, the being out in the wilderness, playing hide and seek in a bush, those kinds of things are all out there. But there's, mild swearing as far as like shield stuff, right? Things that you might not want your kid around. There's mild swearing, but it's usually bleeped. Anything bigger than like the D word is going to get bleeped. I think it's rated TV PG or something like that. There's no drinking, no drugs, no sex, no nudity, which puts it kind of head and shoulders above Survivor.
I was just going to say, it puts it above Survivor.
Yeah, and Survivor, they seem to really heavily...
And Big Brother.
Yes, they always leaned heavily on those like romance subplots or... what was the first season of Survivor where the guy just kept walking around naked on the beach the whole time?
Yikes.
And they had to just blur him. Anyway, none of that happens in BeastGames, and that's a little like the episode that we had a couple weeks ago where we talked about, Gen Z is just not interested in that kind of content, so it's not in there. But there is a lot of that like backstabby behavior, and there's a couple of characters who are openly religious, and people have various... I mean, this is just how the world is, but like they react to them differently. So sometimes, this guy is openly religious, but he's being encouraged to backstab people. So then people take shots at his religion, that kind of thing.
Wow.
So just knowing that, do you feel like you're glad you passed?
I'm going to be honest. I'm glad I passed from what you've said, but I totally understand the hook.
Yeah.
I get why it would be fun. I get why I think a lot of people in my stream watch it with their families. Like they all sit down and watch it and they like it. Nothing against Mr. Beast. I've never been super intrigued or interested in his content.
Really?
Yeah, like what he has done is he has figured out the YouTube algorithm better than anyone ever has, and he's done a great job of that. But I've never found him to be a wildly entertaining person. It's the stuff that he's able to do because he has money that I think makes his stuff so worth watching. Like the only video I ever watched was like these guys camping together in the woods, and whoever lasted the longest, every day that they last, they make more money. And that was really intriguing to me because I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I wonder how long I could be out in the wilderness. Not long.
It would not be long.
I'd be good for camaraderie, but that's it. So I've just never gotten into the content, which is why I haven't watched it, and my kids are probably a little bit too young.
To kind of go out of order, from like a share perspective, this has been a great show for families with middle school kids. Like middle school age kids absolutely love this show.
Yeah. And
it's entertaining enough to parents that like these are all adult people that are participating. So it's not like you're watching a kid's show or anything strange like that. And you know, the moral questions that come up are a little bit more intriguing to the adults, whereas the kids are just like, oh, she's a backstabber. Like they don't really have any idea of like how much money this is that they could, you know, if somebody's being offered $25,000 to get rid of somebody, like that's life-changing money for a lot of people. But so like from a share perspective, this has been a really cool thing for families. It's a good thing to sit down and watch and have something, you know, to go with your kids and to look forward to, because they're not releasing it binge style. It's coming out every Thursday.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. And I really liked that. And I hope that we get more of that type of thing. I don't oppose the whole thing in general. Like I think it's a little gross and weird, but not gross enough and weird enough that I wouldn't let my kids watch it. My kids have been watching it and then we watched it together and they all had a great time.
Do you really think like a majority of middle school Americans are watching the show?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So it's one of those things then, I guess, if you have a middle school kid, why not? You know what I mean? Like you don't want to miss out on those conversations.
Yeah, because that's the next thing when we're talking about Shepherd. So like share, yeah, obviously this is huge. You can share it with your kids. But the Shepherd conversations are absolutely not to be missed in this whole thing. Because if you don't watch it with your kid, they're going to go back to school the next day and they all are talking about it. This is like Seinfeld water cooler, but with sixth graders. Yeah. It's wild. So they're sitting around talking like, oh, can you believe that he took the Lamborghini and he got those people knocked out and blah, blah, blah. You should have that opportunity to like have that conversation with your kid. Bring it back to whatever it is that your family teaches, like your faith tradition or your morality. Like, what would we have done? What would you know, our tradition have taught us it would be the right way to handle this situation? You know, how would you do on this show? And talk it through, because these are kind of moral questions that we don't pose to children anymore, but they're like a lot of them are classical philosophical discussions that are coming up in here, and we don't have that kind of education anymore. So kids don't have the opportunity to like think it through. So you can challenge those things. Be like, hey, but like say you're my family, you know, and they're offering you $100,000 to leave right now. You have a chance at $5 million, or you can pay off your house that you bought 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because you can't pay off a house for $100,000 now. But you know what I mean? Like that money would be life-changing. Could you really look at your kids and say, hey, we could be debt-free and saving towards your college, but instead I took a chance? Like for them, those questions are sort of like whatever. But
it's an obvious answer. You risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah. To them, but it's good to have that conversation, like push back against those ideas and sort of form, like at middle school age, this is when you're in those, we talk to our kids all the time about like, now that you're in middle school, this is the transition period. This is where we start to have adult expectations of you, and we'll start to give you more adult privileges, but only while you're meeting those adult expectations. And if you fail to, that's okay. We're just going to take away some of those privileges because you're not ready for them. But like, this is your trial and error period. But by the time you're in high school, we expect you to be functioning almost as an adult with very little, you know, mess ups anymore. And so this is a great period to start having those conversations and building to that maturity.
And you think the show helps with that?
I think it does. Like just the psychological discussions you can have.
What's it on?
It's on Amazon Prime. Great question.
Okay, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I should have said that at the beginning. Yeah, this is a Prime release that's coming out. It's fantastic. I mean, there's definitely some things in there that you're going to disapprove of. But if you're riding along with your kid and you're having those conversations as they come up, I think you have so many great learning opportunities here, and it's still entertaining.
How's Mr. Beast doing as a host?
I mean, it's the same as YouTube. If you want to go back and watch our episode on Mr. Beast on YouTube, it's very similar.
What age would you say it's appropriate for?
I would say if your kid is late elementary school, middle school age is when they'll be interested in it. So like 5th grade through 8th grade, it's a great sweet spot. Maybe after you put the little kids to bed for the night, let them stay up a little bit late on Thursdays. It's a cool family bonding experience.
All right, there you go.
there you go. Check it out. Hey, if they like this episode, where can they find more content like this?
Go to isthisforkids.com. Check out our YouTube, and we're very active on Instagram, so let us know if you would like to have us review things that you want us to review.
Yeah. Hey, there is just so much content out there for us to review as parents.
Who
are you?
I'm Jonathan Beard of Blevins.
I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. Let us help you decide.
Is this for kids?